I love seeing when everyone is ready, prepared. So now we're getting ready to annotate Wednesdays, DGP notes or help pages. And on Wednesdays, what are we looking for, everyone? Clauses and sentence type. So let's go ahead. I'm going to get my highlighter. You get your highlighter. And we're going to highlight what we look for on Wednesdays. So we look for clauses. We look for the sentence type. And we look for the sentence's purpose. Awesome. I'm going to now get my line tool. And the thing about clauses, I'm back at the top of Wednesday. Each clause must have a subject and verb. Okay. So that is number one thing there. And every sentence must have at least one independent clause. All right. That is very, very important. Let me scroll on down here. We have different types of clauses. So let me get my highlighter markup tool again. Okay. There are independent clauses, must have at least one. Dependent clauses. And for dependent clauses, there are several different types. I'm trying to figure out what tool I want to use. I'll do a line and go with the yellow line. All right, so for dependent, you could have an adverb dependent, an adjective dependent, or a noun dependent clause. So that's just to let those stand out, okay? But the most important thing you should take note of right here is that I don't want to use that color, I'm sorry, that every sentence must have a dependent clause, okay? Down here, we got some important things too. A dependent clause, whenever we have those, they always start with a relative pronoun, a subordinating conjunction, or a noun clause identifier. If you have one of these things in your sentence on Monday and Tuesday, then you might have a dependent clause. Once again, a cheat code, okay? Here's another fact up here. Independent clauses never start with relative pronouns, subordinating conjunctions, or noun clause identifiers, okay? That's pretty much it for the clauses. Let's go down. Number 2, sentence type. Okay. For sentence type, there are 4 types of sentences. Now, you guys learned this way back in elementary, whether you remember it or not. It's just sometimes with English, we get all these different terms and we call it different things, but we're going to get it together. Okay. A simple sentence means I only have one independent clause. Okay. So you would label that SS. A compound sentence, that would be 2 or more independent clauses. A complex sentence is one independent clause plus 1 or more dependent clauses. And then compound complex, that's when you have 2 or more independent clauses plus 1 or more dependent clauses. That's why it's called complex, because those sentences get complicated. All right, moving on. Sentence purpose. You had this as well in elementary, whether you remember it or not. A sentence really only has 4 types of purposes. And those 4 types of purposes are very easy. A declarative sentence is going to make a statement and end in a period. I'm sorry, I got a little tongue-tied there because I wanted to think about a color to just say declarative. All right. And then interrogative, what does that do? Ask a question. Imperative sentences do what? Give commands. Exclamatory sentences express emotion or strong feelings. Okay. And this also helps us a bit for Thursday because it's going to give us the type of punctuation. So declarative sentences end in what kind of punctuation? A period, poo, period. All right, you get the point. Interrogative sentences end in what? Because they're asking a question. That's it, a question mark. Imperative, given a command, they also end in periods. And exclamatory sentences, they're so exciting, and they end with an exclamation point. All right. Declarative, interrogative, or imperative sentences can be exclamatory if there's some strong feelings. But as we do the sentences in class, always go by the corrections that are given to you. So if you think something is expressing emotion, always double check for the correct answer so you'll know how to respond on your quiz or test. Okay, so that is all for Wednesday. I guess I'll go in here and just underline these things as well. That we look for a simple sentence, compound sentence, complex. All right, that is pretty much it. So hopefully you'll get a chance to practice. Thanks.